All right. Hello. I'm
Huh.
the director. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
Are no, wait, you do your little intro. We did okay, sorry.
Okay. So
Restart.
I'm Gu Hong Malcolm Wu, the director of the Ride the Cyclone cover album. And who am I here with?
In certain sections, I'm known as MJ, and I was Ocean on this album.
Yes, you were. So, do you want to talk about let's talk about casting first. So how did you find out about this album when I was casting this?
Well, way back in what was it, 2022?
Yeah.
At this point, I was a big cyclonic in high school, and I was one of those people who like checked the hashtag every single day because it was before it blew off, and I was like, "Is there any new content?" I was doing my daily like checking of the hashtag, and I saw like casting call Ride the Cyclone cover album, and I recognized your name from all the stuff you had already contributed to the fandom, and I had just closed a show of my own, was feeling a little bit of the post show blues. And I was like, if I don't do this, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. Like, I just had that really clear thought. And I'm like, you know what do I have to lose? So I slid into your DMs, and the rest is history. I
I
slid into
remember,
your DMs and said, are you looking for Ocean? Cast me as
yeah.
Ocean,
Yeah,
essentially.
it was super formal, but also with a little already ocean flair, which I think I knew from like that point, like the second DM you sent probably, I was like, he's special.
Special.
And so how about once I did cast you, which was I think around June or May,
May.
June. I don't know. But I cast the show eventually. I think pretty soon. I think it was pretty
It was like
quick-ish
2 weeks.
process.
It was like a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
first you put
so
everyone in a group chat and you were like, hey, this is the Ride Recycling group chat. I'm not going to tell you who you are, but you can start interacting with each other. And I was like, what did
yeah,
I get myself into?
I
Uh,
I, I
that was
was
the
feeling
first moment of panic.
eventually I sent an image after I finalized my cast, finalized it because Mischa hadn't been cast yet. I took a picture and sent it to the group chat. And then what was your reaction?
Oh, so fun story about that is you sent it at like midnight or something, or like a weird time. It was like 11 p.m. and I was already asleep. I
Yeah.
got super early. But I just remember there was this terrible like thunderstorm like in the middle of the night and it was pouring rain. And I woke up. I live in my bedroom's on the top floor, so it's always super loud. And I checked my phone, and the first thing I see on my phone, and it's literally like maybe midnight, maybe 1 a.m., is being cast as Ocean. And like I freaked out. Like, who was I gonna tell? It was 1 in the morning. And like also who was I gonna tell about the Ride the Cyclone cover album? So I was like texting my friend. I'm like, I know you're sleeping, but if you're awake, this would be a great time for you to be awake. And like I had to like hold that information inside for the next few hours. Very
As you
memorable.
slept.
As I slept. I'd slept, tried to sleep.
Slept. Right. I forget if it was even like a weekend or something. If that was a school day, that was
No, it's
evil
like
of me.
Wednesday. This is a very
Some
eventful
random
in
day.
my life anyway. So I have like strong memories associated with what I was doing in school when all this was going on. I was like hosting an awards ceremony the next day.
God.
I mean, I was doing like, I'm Ocean, I'm Ocean. No one knows I'm so cool.
That's the
It
greatest award
was
of all.
yeah.
And so the first rehearsal was a read through. And do you have any memories of that?
It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. I remember just being completely blown away by how talented everyone was. And just, again, it was okay. So, for context, I discovered Ride the Cyclone really early. Well, not really early on, but like considerably early on, before there was a cast reporting, before it blew up on social media. And like, I was obsessed. It like got me through high school. But I didn't have many people to talk to about it because no one knew about it yet. So, this was like my first time really interacting with other people who knew the show and liked the show or was interested in the show. And just I was like, oh, I found my people, this is so nice. And it was just fun and everyone was going all in. And I don't know if I have any specific memories, just like laughing and loving it the whole time.
I remember that was my first time really trying to be Misha at all. And I was for some reason super embarrassed to like do the accent. I was also at home with my sister and my dad, like in other rooms, and they could hear me. I was here rapping about money. I just remember I was slightly embarrassed, but I definitely warmed into it because a year later we did a reading of Red the Cyclone Jr., which will not be released, but just know that it happened. And there, it was amazing to see the the improvement and the change from the first read through like us now like being more comfortable with the roles and like doing it for fun, but we were still like amazing at it, and that was awesome. But especially for me because I learned how to rap better.
That
Oh, I
was
just
with your accent. I remember that, like on the first read through, like that was one of the things that really stood out to me.
really the
Yeah,
accent?
I was like, wow, they're really good, Misha.
No,
Yes, no,
no,
I have notes, not notes. I'm
no.
like
I have
live
notes.
messaging some parts of the first read through so I could dig up the archives. I'm not going to, but like I remember like, dang, like, oh wow, we really do have the full fire here.
So, what? How about you describe what was the rehearsal process like rehearsing the album? I remember there was I tried doing a music rehearsral like one of the first things, and then that ended up falling through because I realized this was never going to work. Because I tried that with Ghost Quartet previously, and that also fell through. I don't know why I expected it to work here, but what were other rehearsals like?
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a little trial and error with the music rehearsal, but we tried. You tried. That was the important thing. The first thing that happened was a character meeting, but looking back, was that you just trying to figure out if I was a real person or not?
I don't know. I think I'm it's weird. The more I talk to you throughout the years, the more I'm sure that you are an idea, even though I've literally met you in person twice. But no, the character meeting was really there so that one to work on character, but two, so that as a more of an excuse to get to know each other and like bond over Zoom, because especially half the cast is not in person, and then half the cast was here in Bethlehem, New York. And so it was a bonding thing, really. But with character meetings, because with the album, I didn't want it to just be like an album of the songs. I had a whole plan for like abridged scenes, which like was a little bit breaching on the legality of our album, which was its own scare in the first year, but it turned out to be fine. But I wanted there to be really acting in this. I wanted this to be a whole extravaganza of an album, and it still kind of is. But do you remember any character exercises I did with you, or like things I've said that really stuck out to you when you were building your ocean?
Let me see. I
I don't know,
remember
one of them.
going back and forth, especially in that first character meeting, but between like the more fun ocean and the more like pre-character development. It's about to say a non-ocean word, but like that side of
Non-ocean
her.
dude.
I was gonna say a non-ocean word. I swear now it's fine. I'm slightly similar to Ocean in real life. I like saying the good parts, not the bad parts, but like the no profanity thing sometimes bleeds through. But anyway, there's like the fun Ocean, and then there's like the more serious Ocean, like post character development, and like it's such a big shift and it makes sense of the arc of the show, but being able to do both sides. And I remember like running that with you, going back and forth between some of her earlier scenes and okay, let's do her final monologue and like how can we really dig into what she has learned throughout the show.
Yeah, that final monologue was a big thing because that monologue really hits deep for me. I loved it, and it didn't end up on the album, but I loved it. But I think I do remember telling you about the arc of Ocean because Ocean, as I think either Jacob or Brooks said in an interview from like 200 years ago, that Ocean's really like the main character of this, has the biggest arc. And I really want to emphasize that, which is why I wanted to include that final monologue in the album, but I didn't include it because of the legality scare. Because I remember there was always a little thing about like, let's keep this an as an album and market it as such. But I remember I posted a sneak peek of our us Bethlehem actors singing in our producer the Cicadas basement, just jamming out and promoting out. And some guy commented on the TikTok saying, "Hey, my mom's a lawyer, and I just want to say, yeah, my mom's a
I
lawyer.
remember
I just want to say that like you guys might be breaking the law." I remember being like, "Oh shit!" He was like, "We need you need a performance license for this. I'm pretty sure." And I put on my lawyer hat. I Googled a bunch of stuff for like 5 hours and wrote a response being like, and it's the disclaimer that's on my website now for all my albums. It says, This cover album Ride the Cyclone is strictly for fun. It is not an official publication or performance for sale to any audiences, and it's not involved with the original creatives. That was the
Can you look
disclaimer
at
that
the
I typed
camera
out.
and just like say that again and say that what we're doing is 100% legal. We're going between
Yes.
the lines. This is an act of love from people who really love this show. We're not trying to
Yes.
profit off of it or steal anything. We're, if anything, we're trying to raise up the show. So like just like
Exactly.
want to reinstate that
Yeah,
for any like
that's what I said basically, and I replied that.
yeah.
And then he was like, okay, just check back with my lawyer mom again, and she says it's fine.
Really?
So
I didn't know that
yeah,
update.
so crisis averted, but even still, I was a little bit shaken up. So I made some cuts on our album, and sadly, that monologue was a hard one to give up, but I
But you
gave
know
it up.
what? Being legal is great. Following the law is
100%.
great. We love that.
Yes.
That's important. Especially I was applying to college at that point, and I
Oh my
was like,
God. You didn't
this
want
is
a
not
criminal
just
record
something
on
on
your
my record.
application.
I thought the school that I ended up going to was going to find out. I still think they might find out about it, but you know what? It's fine. What can they do? I'm already here.
All right. So let's say, oh, I remembered. So you were gone for like a month of the rehearsal
Yes.
process. And somehow that didn't really, I don't really remember much of that, but I do remember using Google Calendars for the first time to schedule rehearsals because I got everyone's conflicts. But you were gone for like a month. And during that month, what did you like? Because you were busy doing your own thing, which was fine. But how much of like thinking about the album were you really doing during that time when you were out?
We've
Yes,
had, I think the big thing that was happening during my time away is still a lot of talk in the group chat. And I didn't have my phone for the first week. But then once I got it back, and like it was just like a nice group of people. I don't know, like there was bonding. I don't know, it was good. It
what?
was
So it was like
half
barbaric
my life.
before you left, and then you came back to
Yeah.
someone else.
No, but it was like a nice thing to have in my life, in that period of my life. And it
I'm
still is.
glad.
I'm really grateful for it, especially during that summer.
Do you remember like what it was like to wrap up recording audio?
Yeah, I remember doing the choreography as I did the audio. That's really my only memory, and like sending you like videos and like audio clips, being like, "Hey, I'm actually doing it. It's actually a thing that's happening." And I don't know, I knew what the world needs. I mean, it's an interesting song. Um, don't subscribe to its belief, but like I knew it. Ocean was such a dream role. She is still such a dream role. I'll play her again and again if I can. Someone give me the opportunity to, please. But thank you for doing that first. So like, but it was fun to do it, you know, the ocean and all of her
Yeah.
oceanness.
I remember when I recorded a little choreography video of it, I had an idea for like an entirely filmed music video. The lyric music video is out now, and it's like just three clips really of live action. I planned for it to be like those three clips on the playground, and then the rest of the cast filming at their homes against like a backdrop or something of them like miming, and I'd edit it in like grids and like things, and it was gonna be a whole thing, but one that was being editing nightmare, and two, I never got to like finishing the storyboard for that, so the actors don't know what to do. But the ocean track was set. But I filmed that and then I sent it to you. I remember you sent me back and like you were like obsessed with the choreo. I remember you put such gusto into the
Thank you.
movements,
It
and
was so
that made
fun.
me really excited to see because I was like, that's my choreography. And she's so excited about it. Like that's so cool. The world needs people like me. I'll spin it around. But yeah, and then I think we can move on now to the music video filming day, the big event. I think it was August 15th,
Something like that.
something like that. I had a whole Google Doc of the plans. I'll probably include that in our behind the scenes compilation. But filming day, so we had our own side of the story, and I'll discuss that with the group. But what was your side of the story when you were on the
Yeah.
fated day?
I came in from a little bit away. Like miraculously, I was close enough to you to realistically like come in for a filming day,
Yeah.
which was wild. Like of all the places, you know, we have cast members who are literally on the other side of the world, and when I'm home, we're relatively close. So I got one filming day in, was able to convince my folks to let that happen somehow. Don't know how that happened, but thank you for trusting me. And came in, drove in. I was in my whole little ocean getup. I was so
Yes.
excited, and we filmed it on a playground, and that was fun. I teach also. I do education, and I had to use my teacher voice a
Oh,
couple
I
times
remember that.
because there were a lot of
Witnessing.
kiddos playing on the playground. I'd be like, hey, like my friends and I were filming something very important right now. So if you wouldn't mind just playing over there for a few minutes. And
I saw there was a kid on it, and you walked up, and for a second in my mind, I went, "Oh shit, there's kids here." The kid was saying there, you walked up, and I was so nervous that it was gonna turn into like an ugly scene. But then you like put on this teacher voice, and you're like, "Hey, buddy, our friends just need this equipment for like 10 minutes, and after that, you can use it. It's all yours." And the kid like smiled or something and was like, "Yeah, sure," and got up and left. And I remember being impressed, and
oh, thank you.
I was like, "Damn!" And then I snagged a photo to prove it happened. And it's you facing away, but with your beautiful ocean
It's a
hair
very
background.
artsy photo.
Yeah, it is a very artsy photo. It should have been the album cover, actually.
Do we have still have time to
Right?
change the documentary? Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. It was fun. I mean, it was fun to like see everyone and like interact and like be the choir together, and it was such a great day. I remember we were like joking around a lot, but we also got everything done on time. Well, most of
We
it.
were
Our sugar
early.
got done on time.
We finished early. We had time to take headshots. Like, and those headshots were lost somehow,
And
which
it
is
looked, I
such a
remember
shame.
mine
It looked
looking so
amazing.
good.
Right, mine looked amazing too. I have a photo. Thank God I had some people took photos of people of Cicada taking the headshots, and I took a photo of some people taking headshots, so we have like proof it happened, but the actual files are gone, which is a shame. It was on a real camera and everything.
Well, we have a very beautiful photo, which is a selfie of the choir. And that
Yes.
was that was I used that as a log screen for a while. I also we had a photo of us like in the choir
Yes.
pose,
Oh, I
and
love that
kiddos on the top
photo.
and our head is cut off, and that was also my log screen for a
Oh
solid
my
minute.
God. I remember I used the choir selfie photo in one of our summer promotional material because it's just a nice little cast photo. Oh, and that I think you took this photo of me fixing Jane's wig to a styrofoam head,
Yes,
and
it was such a
then Eileen
sweet,
standing
like,
there.
what's the word? Like non-posed. It was just like a candid moment, and
Handed,
had to
yes.
get the wig on the head, and like you were like doing it. And I'm like, do you want help? And like I remember like sitting down, like holding the head while you pinned down the wig. And like, this is one of the weirdest and greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah, and Eileen has the head. I gave it to her as a present, but it was the styrofoam like Walmart head. You can barely see it in the Sugar Club photo, but it was my favorite detail of her. It's this styrofoam head, and I blackened out the eyes and put on lipstick and makeup and eyebrows. I put real like eyeliner or eyebrow pencil thing on it. It was crazy. And I put fake eyelashes on it too. They were real real 3D eyelashes on it. And the wig, so Eileen had this blonde wig that she wore for Jane Doe, but for Sugar Cloud, I decided I should have her be Penny and holding the head. And she had pom poms. I have the other pom pom at home. It's this pink pom pom, and the other pom pom was shoved into the bottom of the head. So it was like blood trickling out this head. But the blonde wig was on, and I had to, with a headband, and I had to stab bobby pins and hairpins into it to keep it on. And so that's the photo of me sitting on the floor in my vest, stabbing the head, cicadas leaning against the lamppost, and Jane, Eileen's in the back, just standing there like a cryptid. And someone, it was either you or Danny, photoshopped you, cut off her head, photoshopped it out, and it was the best photo ever because it looked like I was holding her head. Now we get to the big event of the whole reason that we have a final ride at all. So after Sugar Cloud was released and then Richard Potts was released, we sort of didn't release anything for like a year.
So if you look at the timeline, it was summer, and I thought this was going to be a summer of my life. And what has it
Right.
been now? Like a year and a half?
I think my official description says like 52 weeks or something.
It's over, definitely over 52 weeks. If 52 weeks would have
Yeah.
been a year from start to
Oh
finish.
shoot. Wait, hold on. I have it
Yeah,
somewhere on
it's
my
much, it's for my involvement started May of 2022.
yes.
Anyway, so
But
I
anyway,
was starting school, and I'm like, well, whatever this is, it's gonna be. So anyway, I don't know why did we have that lull in releasing things?
Yeah, so I had intended for this to be a summer thing. Actually, initially, when I was first advertising the album back in like April, when I was put out the casting call, I said August 2022, as if that was going to be a realistic thing. But no, this was a big thing because the biggest thing I'd done before this was Ghost Quartet. And I wanted this to be like a whole extravaganza, like I said, with all the scenes and stuff. So I put August 2022. I decided I was going to postpone it a little bit. I said, okay, instead of August, September 14th. That's a fun day, you know? And so I decided that was going to be the day. But then it was literally like the day we filmed Ballad of Jane Doe, we did that. And then Eileen, Cicada, and I went out just to the playground actually at like 10 p.m. just to hang out because it was like a debrief because like that was the last thing ever we were going to work on together before it was all them. But I remember being there, I was like, huh, not a lot has been produced for this. So I turned to our producer and said, "Hey, I'll make a release schedule and do it in drops instead, like the Hadestown album. I'll do it in character drops." And they were like, "Cool." So September 14th, I decided was going to be Constance Blackwood, and then I'll go down in my billing order of the show, releasing them like about I planned for like every week, and clearly that didn't work because we had conversations. I remember in the group chat of like when's the last possible moment we can release it that we can say it was still that date that we scheduled for it. And where I was like, okay, so if I said this is going to come out on Wednesday, then we can release it on Thursday at 8 a.m. and it'll still be Wednesday somewhere in the world. But yeah, so eventually our producer just had to like stop and work at their own pace, which was fine. And so then drops just kind of stopped happening. And I didn't give an explanation to social media. So people were just like, it's time. Where the fuck is everything? Or sorry, where the freak is
Yeah,
everything?
thank you.
Yeah. And progress was being made on especially the Ballad of Jane Doe, because that was the big release that people were waiting for. And it's out now and it's fantastic. And Cicada was sending me progress updates, but then suddenly one day they just messaged me and said, "Hey, um, slight issue. My laptop was stolen. They were at college and their laptop was stolen from like the dining hall or something, and they can't get it back. And they've been like looking and working with police and everything, and it was gone. All the files were like not uploaded to a cloud or anything. They were just on that laptop specifically, and that was a moment of and I didn't know what to do. I figured I just have to salvage things. And I intended to start releasing stuff during the summer, but that didn't happen again. So again, September 14th, we released our first thing of the final ride, which was this medley. And the medley is a big thing that I'm proud of. What were your
It's
thoughts on the
great.
medley?
Oh, I was so excited the first time I saw it because all the opening numbers in the show are brilliant. Like, how do you pick a favorite? You can't. They all have such incredible qualities and they kind of indicate how the show has changed and evolved over time. And when I saw you create this whole medley of like the best of each, well, the best of mine is Some Lines. I'm like, this is
Right.
brilliant.
So
Some lines were cut and I was all
what do you mean? What do you mean by some
what line?
lines?
Oh, Carpe Diem, what a lovely theme. Carpe
Yeah.
Diem. You can hear me on the Crouton Woo Instagram and YouTube channel. Carpe Diem. You're
Carpe
welcome.
diem.
Carpe Diem. What a lovely theme.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't put that in
other
for
than
some
that,
reason.
9.5 out of 10. Perfect. Solid
Yeah.
95%. No, but it's really great. And it is such a beautiful homage to the musical.
Yeah, and I remember about that medley. So many people have created opening medleys of it by now, but little known secret, mine was the first. It just didn't get released until a year later. I made it in February 2022. Like yeah, during when I was in Les Mis, I was in Les Mis, by the way. Like I played various, but I made it, and I was so proud of it. I wanted it to be like this whole thing of like because at that point it was an original idea. I was the first one to do it, and I was so excited. And then other people released their own medleys, which are great. I'm not saying they're not, but
You're great. You're all great.
mine was first and has original vocals. It's amazing. So that's my
You've had a
story.
big impact on this
I
fandom.
have, and I didn't expect to have that big of an impact. And I hope that our album has a big impact too. I think it did because it generated a lot of buzz on the clock app, as the youth call it, TikTok. I showed a clip of Eileen recording the Battle of the Jane Doe, and that got thousands of likes and generated a lot of stuff, a lot of views, and a lot of hype. But I'm a little nervous that the hype is a little gone because it's been a year. But regardless, the hype was there at some point, which means that our album was in the collective conscience of a lot of fans of the show, which is an amazing thing to think about.
Yeah.
So yeah. And that brings us to the final ride, which is not out yet. But oh, wait. Before I wrap up, I was gonna wrap up with like final deep philosophical thoughts. But first of all, What the World Needs just came out like a week ago or like a few days ago.
Yeah,
Ocean,
it's
what are your
it's
thoughts?
it's not the original concept, but I think with what, the whole story that you just told, and what happened over time, it's still capturing like the spirit of who we are and what we're trying to do. And it has some clips of, us being together. And I think that's the important thing of trying to like, instead of trying to make it up and like do it from scratch, like keeping what we have in combination with the original soundtrack or cast recordings, sorry, excuse me, and just I don't know, putting our own spin on it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of putting our own spin on it, we also in What the World Needs, you can see it if you look really closely, but there's this one lyric that talking about Mischa, I think, and it's like he spoke to Ganja, ooh, it's so groovy to stay at home and watch another Will Smith movie or Transformer movie. And it was 2022, summer 2022, and we wanted to be hip and modern. So what did we change it to?
What did it was Joker? What was it? What was the
No,
movie? I don't even remember
it was
what
you can
was
see
happening.
you mouthed it, but it was the movie that it was referencing was Morbius.
Oh,
And so who
I
played the
actually
Joker?
forgot about Morbius until right this minute. Wow, that's
The
how
only
long.
reason I think about it is because of that tweet, but it was the lyric was changed to He'll spoke Ganja, ooh, it's so groovy to stay at home and watch a Jared Leto movie. And it was gonna be
Who's the
such a
guy who
like
was the Joker?
thing.
Wasn't
What?
it? Who played the
No,
Joker?
it was I thought it was he played Joker, but I think it was referencing Morbius because that was the movie that
Right.
was coming out at that time. But that was gonna be such a thing. And so I added in a bunch of other like cool stuff, but we also intended to have bonus tracks, and one of those bonus tracks was going to be a spin on "I Love You Guys," and that summer, it's gone through 4 phases now, well, five-ish. So initially, it was just going to play out as normal, Ocean goes, "I love you guys," and then Noel cuts her off, and then that's that. And then I decided, wait, for bonus track, we could have it be. I think this was the era of Red Taylor's version as in Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swifty per se because I don't listen to pop music really because I'm so quirky like that. But I decided, what if we had an ocean I Love You Guys 10-minute version, Ocean's version from the other side. That was gonna be a whole thing. But I didn't bother to write 10 minutes of lyrics because that would have been
Oh,
insane.
I was
But
fully
yeah.
ready. I was gonna write
You were
Ocean
fully right.
City.
You gave me like a lot of paragraphs to work with actually, and it was gonna be like each minute dedicated to a kid, a member of the choir, and then I guess a minute would fill each chorus. I didn't know how I was going to stretch it to 10 minutes, but that
What
was
was
one
the
of the
chorus
phases.
gonna be? Like, I
Like,
love
I have
you,
no idea.
I love
I
you
was gonna
guys.
I was gonna write in a whole 10-minute original piece based on 2 lines of music from the show. What was I thinking? But then eventually that fell through, and then like a year later, it was the summer of a certain YouTuber's downfall with a certain ukulele apology, and I wanted to parody that with Ocean, and that was also going to be 10 minutes. Which what was I thinking? But at least I had a melody to work with, but that didn't work either. So eventually, it fell on what it is now, which will be released when you're watching this, and I think it's very very funny. And
I'm excited to hear it.
I've given the group chat sneak peeks of it, which I have a big mouth. I need to stop doing that because I want y'all to be surprised by it too. But I've given you sneak peeks. But the audience, you watching viewers, you don't know what it is, and I think it's very funny, and I hope you enjoy it. So that is some of the changes that were made to freshen up our album. And finally, that brings us to where we are now. And I want you to tell me about as Ocean, who has the biggest arc, I expect you also have a emotional and character arc through the 18 months of working on this. What have you learned? Where were you at the beginning? Where are you now? What do you hope viewers take away from this? And what have you taken away from it?
It was, I don't know, like this has been a huge part of my life for the past 18 months. Like, don't want to get like mushy and emotional about it, but it's something, I don't know. When I first got into Ride the Cyclone, I loved it for many reasons. I remember listening to Sugar Cloud for the first time and just like having to sit down and like crying. I'm like, this is so resonant. Like, it means so much to me. Like, hear a message like this in a musical. But I think one of the reasons I loved Ride the Cyclone is the idea of the choir, and they're not perfect. They're, they have their issues with themselves and with each other. But at the end of the day, they're just this little group of friends who come, I don't know, friends is the right word, peers, colleagues, whatever you want to call it, but eventually friends that despite their differences come together and grow closer. And I'm like, dang, I kind of want that. I want my choir. And I think at the end of 18 months, I do have a choir, and I didn't think that could actually happen. And not to quote Ocean on Main, but I do love you guys.
Oh,
That good?
that
Do you
is
want my character
very sweet.
development story too? I did also go
Yeah.
through much character development in the past 18 months, which I think Ocean would be proud of. Where I don't know what other morals. Those are the serious
What's the
morals.
moral of this story? I should
Is
have
the
asked
moral
that. What is the moral of this story?
this story? This story, right? Like this zoo, my experience.
Uh, I mean, sure, I meant the whole album.
Oh, the moral of the album. What is the
Oh
moral of the
no, first, what's the moral of this Zoom, and then what's the moral of
album?
the 18 months?
Trying to think of a serious answer that's not the snarky answer that I want to give. No, I keep the serious
Snarky,
answer before.
Snarky,
The
Snarky
snarky
Oceans
answer is
deserves the spotlight.
don't talk to strangers online, but if they offer you a Ride the Cyclone cover album, it's probably not a trap. It might be. I was like, you know what? If it's Hamilton, that's weird. Like that could be a trap. Like that's popular enough. But Ride the Cyclone, it's this weird little obscure musical. And it's Crouton Wu on the Instagram. I love his videos. So anyway, but like stay safe, kids. Don't do what I
Yes.
did, but also worth it. We
Yeah.
think. We're still gonna watch it play out.
But yeah, stay safe. I didn't expect that to be the PSA of this Zoom, but
Stay
okay.
safe, stay legal, do legal activities,
Be
respect.
safe, be good.
Good. That is always the moral of everything, isn't it? But also sometimes in life you gotta, I don't know, follow your gut and follow your heart and take that leap. And if it feels right, follow that and not be scared. Because if I was scared, I wouldn't be here now. So
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah,
thank you.
that's true. If I was scared, I wouldn't have done any sort of hosting cover albums. I would still be doing all my albums by myself with me playing every character. Oh my God.
You're a big inspiration to me. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
that, but what
I
you do with the
that's
cover albums, it's really incredible. I think I've probably said that in some form to you before, but like
if you
you
did, I forgot because I have a goldfish
I
brain.
don't
Thank
know,
you.
you
That's really
set
sweet.
such high goals and you achieve them and you bring people together and you create art and like having that initiative to have a goal and have a dream and actually follow through, it's incredibly inspiring. So that's the moral of the story. This is, I don't know where they are. Really cool human who I'm glad is in my life. Or yeah.
Thank you. That means so much to me. That's amazing. I'm so glad I've had an impact on that. Like I'm gonna cry. Like
Oh no.
I'm
Did we cry?
physically
I cried
weeping.
in the first character Zoom doing the final monologue. And I think the direct quote from me was, oh no, I'm crying. Can I do fun ocean? Can I bully someone? And he said, sure, you can bully Constance. And I was like,
I
yeah.
remember that. Yes. Oh my God. Now is a good time to wrap this up now, but
No, say something
thank you
nice
so
about
much.
me. Just kidding. You don't have to do that.
No, no, I will say something nice about you. In the words of Andrew Lloyd Webber, but slightly altered to be this show, you are the Ocean O'Connell Rosenberg for the century.
Thank you.
I mean that because you are my first Ocean I've worked with because hopefully maybe I'll direct a real production of Ride the Cyclone somehow. But you were the first Ocean I've ever worked with. You were the first like actor. You were the first act actor in an album I've hosted who was someone I didn't know prior to the album. And we've developed a friendship over 18 months. And like I took two trains down to see you for this, like not for this, but like for the sake of our
We were
friendship. Like,
hanging out last
yes, we
weekend.
were hanging out. Like this means so much to me. And it means so much to me that you are in this album, this project that has meant so much to me, and everyone worked on it and everyone who's seen it. So I want to thank you for everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sweet.
Yes.
What a sweet, wholesome way to end this.
Yeah.
She
Ocean
is
carried.
Democracy Rocks.